Are we live?
We are live.
Should we do it?
Yes, yes. Wow, that intro gets more exciting every week.
We need to update it. So, but
we're going to raise some production values. Okay.
Hey, so Pete, before we start, I just want to say this time I'm going to make an extra special effort to speak clearly and like a professional, polished radio host.
I gotta say, I'm a little thrown off. Are you actually wearing a coat, or do you just sort of throw it over your shoulders? Are your arms in the, okay, all right.
Well, first I'll explain, but first we should introduce who we are.
Okay, oh yeah, right. So welcome again to the Friday Nooner. I'm Pete McIntyre, the managing editor of Grep with me, as always, the Grep Godfather, Joe Colopy. Joe, welcome. Now you had something to say.
Yes. Well, this is my pheasant coat. It's a kind of a sweater jacket, but what makes it so wonderful is not only does it zip very well, but it has pheasants on it. And so I generally get
a pheasant coat.
Yes, and I'm broadly mocked for wearing it, but it's very.
I can't imagine why that would be. You notice I actually have a tag on me here. I have a Grep shirt, which no one can see. Like, my branding is almost always wasted.
We need to get hats.
We do probably need some hats. We have shirts, we have mugs, and we have pint glasses. And in fact, we're going to give away a pint glass today, live. Well, if someone, we're going to have a trivia question, and if someone answers it live in the comments, and remember, anyone out there, you can jump in on some comments. We may throw it up on the screen, and we also have a guest today, the first ever guest on the Friday Nooner. It's Sarah Leners. I had to ask her how to pronounce her name, and she is with Bull City Venture Partners in Durham. So that'll be exciting. But we have some things to talk about it. What is that?
Well, Jim is making puns. Puns are always popular.
Instead of his presence known, Joe is making his pheasants. No, actually, that's pretty good. I'll give some credit. So as puns go, that is among the top. So in my exhaustive show prep this morning, while also trying to deal with 5 interns that are all in this morning, I went to the little-known website CNN, and on the business section, the top headline said, IPOs are still very hot. No, actually, that wasn't the headline, but that's what I wrote down from it. But it was about IPOs and SPACs being hot, and nothing could stop them, et cetera. And so I said, hey, tech IPOs, let's talk a little about tech IPOs, because I know Scott Wingo, our friend, the Triangle Tweener Titan, among other hats, has definitely been big time on the bandwagon of thinking that would be huge. That's something you'd like to see more in the Triangle, because there haven't really been any tech IPOs in a while. Now, he obviously has had some under his belt, channel advisor. But where do you sit on the importance of tech IPOs to, like, how important are they to any ecosystem, specifically to this one?
So I certainly have opinions on this.
Yes.
First and foremost, I think, early on you talked about all these wonderful things we're going to have for our show. So we're going to really looking for a lot of audience participation and commentary as well. And so I'm keeping a mental list and I have a circle of the people I'll remember and I'll take care of when the robot overlords come and the ones that I won't. So Jim Roberts is on the right list because he made a comment. And so it's a chance for everyone. Comments are good. So overall, it is great for us to have more larger tech companies in the Triangle, particularly that are headquartered here. Right. I think the IPOs tends to be a proxy for that. It's not the only proxy for that. We're home of SAS, who's the largest private software company in the world, founded here, based here, grown here in Cary, North Carolina. So clearly it's not just all about the IPOs specifically. I also think if you
compare SAS to Red Hat in terms of Red Hat had an IPO, I think you might have been there around that time.
Yeah, I benefited from that.
It feels like Red Hat has spun out more founders like yourself, people who does an IPO share the wealth more than, SAS getting huge? Has that really led to?
I think they're fundamentally very dramatically different company cultures. I do think if one's gotten large and they haven't taken any outside investor, that's going to make inherently a more insular company, I would think, than one that has. So SAS, you could also make the argument. What's that?
SAS, you mean not having taken?
Yeah, SAS is an extremely insular company. I mean, they've done an amazing job, but it is really Jim Goodnight's world, and they have not been that into spending anything out, nor very supportive of it culturally, where I think Red Hat has been much more typical in that regard. I think it's not only have they attracted those type of people, but what I think was really interesting, and I think it was a couple years ago, they bought Ansible. So Ansible was a software company, open source, in the Linux ecosystem. I think they're based around American Tobacco in Durham. And I want to say they bought them for $95 million or something, but I could be completely wrong on that one. But what's good about that is you have companies tend to buy companies near where they are, which is one of the reasons why there's so much M&A activity in Silicon Valley, is because that's where the big acquirers are as well. And so I think when we see deals like that, where a large company in the Triangle buys another smaller company in the Triangle for a really good premium, that's great. So to tie it all back, I agree with Single T Scott that that more IPOs are good, but we need more activity and we need more large tech companies. I think it's very valuable to know that the IPOs aren't necessarily the holy grail. It is a form of financing. I think a lot of people in the press really misunderstand how private equity specifically kind of works, and how the end all be all is not an IPO. And in fact, you can have some much larger companies, as we've had in the area, that have had financings and have spun out people that didn't go to the public markets. Like if you look at, for example, now I'm forgetting the Relias, for example. Relias was the Vista Equity, which is the largest software private equity firm. It's actually out of Austin. That they bought a few smaller software companies around here. They use as an anchor to buy more and more.
Automated Insights, right?
What's that?
Automated Insights. Wasn't that
they did? Yeah. Well, I guess they did, but that was more of a separate platform. They did it to build up Relias companies elsewhere, and then Relias sold to what, $500 and some million or Bertelsmann, like Bertelsmann, 5 years ago or so. I mean, that size of transaction was twice the size of what the market cap of ChannelAdvisor was, right? So, I mean, now ChannelAdvisor would be worth more because the markets are really hot, but not more than that. I mean, I don't know what they're worth.
But how much of the capital would stay here in the Triangle?
Yeah, but let's play the counter argument. When a company goes public, it's heavily through venture capitalists. And how many of those venture capitalists with their limited partners are based here in the Triangle? Really? So even if you have someone like, and we're going to tie into this, Bull City Ventures, who had a lot of money into ChannelAdvisor, they had a lot of money for them. but a lot of the much bigger money was from elsewhere in the region or in the country. So as much as people say, hey, IPOs, when they come to IPOs, they distribute a lot more to the community. That's great because of the executives and people working there. That makes sense. But the investors, particularly ones that are heavily funded, let's say Pendo, where do you think Pendo's investors are? They're not from here. I mean, maybe there's some local ones, but the big money is from somewhere else. And those investors, they're the ones getting those windfalls. And there's also the bankers as well. So obviously, big wins are good for everybody, but it's a little bit misleading to say all the money flows back.
But what if you're employee like 5 through 20? Do you tend to get more money from an IPO or from a private equity investment?
I would rather. I mean, I think an IPO. I mean, it depends, but for the most part, I think an IPO gives everyone liquidity after a lockout. Where I think private equity, depending on how they play, for the most part, they don't want to give liquidity to the employees.
So I think
because they want to continue to grow it to do something else. So the devil's in the details, and the details, details matter. So, anyways, no shortage of topics of IPOs and M&A and the rise of private equity and how, I sent you a note before this about 3 times as many companies now exit through private equity to financial buyers, or to financial buyers being private equity, compared to 10 years ago. And that's a big change, right? And we saw that with Process Maker. We saw that with Archive Social. We saw that. I mean, you can go on and on and on. Most of the acquisitions in recent history in the triangle have been to private equity. They haven't necessarily been the strategics, which have been like, strategic would be the company itself, like IBM or Salesforce or whatever.
But do you feel that's in part just because the valuations have gotten better for private equity?
Well, I think it's because there's so much more money. Two things. So much more money sitting in the private market than the public market compared to ever since 2008, really. Also, it's worked well. I mean, the private equity investments in tech have been great. And so when there's an asset class that's overperforming, it's going to attract more capital. And that growth equity, private equity, software private equity, that it's a great place to be. So, and I put my money where my mouth is too. At some level, that is, as you know, their sister company, Jurassic, that is essentially working in the software private equity space to tap into that trend, invest in smaller software companies to get them to the level where they're the higher valuations to work with these large
private equity to swoop in.
Or mini private equity. We're like a mini Vista.
We have our guest is now in the virtual studio.
Cool.
So we are going to let her in. Sarah, how are you?
Hi. Good. How are you?
Hi, Sarah.
Hi. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, this is exciting. The first ever guest. And actually, Joe, I forgot to mention this earlier. We're gonna break some other news here in a moment, but. What the heck? Well, so the Greppies, we're going to do an awards show called the Greppies, and we have a nominating committee, a very prestigious nominating committee, of which Sarah is one. And it's going to be April 22nd. We have a sponsor now, right? Dual Boot Partners.
Yay.
This is all breaking news.
All coming together. Like
right. And when I was... a few weeks ago, I had to look up Sarah's name for something. Maybe I just wanted to know her title. And so on Google, I put Sarah Leners, and it started auto-completing. It said Sarah Leners, actress. I was like, no, obviously that's not who I mean. But I was like, I'll click it because I want to see what actress. And it was, in fact, the same Sarah who is our guest right now. And so naturally, I've checked out your IMDb page. Most known for The Secret Lives of Dorks, apparently. Cheerleader number 3. So, that's one of the top 5 cheerleaders in that whole movie. So how then I read your bio, and I have a lot of questions.
I have questions too. And I want before we get into this, I just want to acknowledge, because I appreciate all commenters. Jim talking about SaaS, Global Hackathon. Okay. But I think more importantly, in Wilmington, Encino, post-IPO, that's a really big deal. That's a big fish in a very small town. And so that's a good
very small Wilmington town. That's harsh. Very small.
Wilmington is less than half the size of Durham, but growing a lot actually. So they've seen, just like the Triangle, maybe even more so, they've seen a huge influx of people move in during COVID. So I think the Wilmington that we know today will be different than Wilmington tomorrow. Sarah, have you gone to Wilmington yet?
I haven't been there yet. Dying to go though.
There we go. See, the open invitation that the tens of listeners of this program, someone will hear this call. Well, if Jim Roberts chimes in and he's a kind of the man around Wilmington for entrepreneurship, maybe he can invite you to one of his speaking engagements and kind of make it a twofer.
Well, we'll say, so Sarah was nationally ranked in track and field, right? And rowing. Is this true? So that would you run a heptathlon at Dartmouth?
So I did the heptathlon before going to college, but at Dartmouth did the 400 hurdles.
Okay. All right. But then you went to LA after graduation to be an actress. So tell us about that.
Yeah. Right after I graduated, I went out there, and actually the highlight of my career was doing a cross-country running commercial for Adidas, but I never got to see it because it only aired in Canada and Europe.
So would people stop you on the street if you were in Canada or Europe? Like, hey,
I don't think so.
Okay.
You never know. You could be on billboards, somewhere in Saskatchewan or,
Yeah. I think they own the rights to the image, so.
I was in LA at that same time as a writer. I have, Joe, perhaps you knows this, I have an IMDb page as well.
Wow.
It is not particularly packed with interesting things. But
I want to dig into one specific point. If I remember correctly, and I think I saw it online or when Pete sent me the link, I thought one of your claim to fame was having have curly hair.
Natural
and now
curl.
I see this, and I'm just like, who is this? I don't know what this is.
I thought it was the wrong person.
You have to stage your brand, and now you're like moving around.
Literally her trademark.
Yeah. I mean, I could get it. Like if you mention offhand, okay, yeah. But then to trademark it,
right?
And then to it's like you're holding on to it.
Was that an official thing? There's no legal process for that? Okay.
No, I mean, I'm trying to remember back to then how that came up, but no, it's not anything official.
Okay. All right. So then you went to business school, you went to Booth, right? Now you're at Bull City, and that's the important thing.
So when did you start, I assume, move and start at Bull City?
I moved and started end of March last year.
Oh, good. Just in time.
Just in time to meet everyone.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep. Time. Okay.
And all right. Well, so welcome to the area.
Thank you.
I'm sorry. Pete's going to say something.
No. Just you talk away. Whatever you'd like to say.
Well, I am a host on the show, so
that's true. Well, co-host. Yeah, okay. You're like the color guy. I'm the play-by-play person. I'll steer it along.
There we go.
But here's something I do want to talk about. So later today, 4:00, I believe. So Steve Case and this whole Rise of the Rest seed fund, it's having a road trip. But since one can't actually do that, it's going to be on Clubhouse, which we can talk about. I have some issues with Clubhouse.
I know.
But to talk about founders, why the Triangle is a great place to invest, which we all think. But well, Joe, do you have an issue with Rise of the Rest just as the name?
Well, that's
it's a leading question.
Pete, I don't. Why would you bring that up randomly?
Okay. I mean, do you want to get into it or no?
Pete, yes, I do. So I do have issue with Rise of the Rest because it's basically saying rise of the losers, right? I mean, it's such a condescending term, rise of the rest. I mean, I think you need to speak in terms of negatives or positives instead of negatives. So rise of the rest.
What rise?
I think
That's
it's
positive.
obliviously condescending. I don't like the term.
The rest.
I get the point, but it's yeah.
What about Rise of the Best?
I think it's obnoxious.
Rise of the Best?
See, that's positive. I mean, we all know where that came from, so I would remember that really comes from Rise of the Rest, so that would bother me. But I do like that. So maybe you should we could trademark it.
The right way. And make it legal.
Yeah. Make it legal.
Yeah.
But I do think
aside, the thesis though. The thesis of investing in outside the valley. And that's what y'all do, right? At Bull City, obviously. Now, is it just better valuations, not as picked over? Some combination?
Yeah, I definitely think that's it. There's, the West Coast VCs are not spending time and resources out here. We have boots on the ground. There's a lot of hidden gems out here. So, and there's definitely a sense that valuations are bid up on the West Coast and that there's, less competition for deals here and that plays to our advantage. But we love investing in the area. So yeah, it's good for us.
So Sarah, the area. So let's just kind of talk what the area is, and then it's I'm a little familiar because I'm a limited partner in your all's fund. Peter, are you a limited partner?
I'm not a limited partner. No. It would be on my IMDb page if I was.
Okay. We're co-hosts, but I'm a co-host.
You're
and a limited partner. Just for me.
Okay.
But what is kind of the area that y'all cover? But then within that, I imagine there are some places where you've just done more activity.
Yeah. So you can think, DC, Philly, down to Atlanta. We can invest anywhere in the US, but that is kind of the region that we focus on. We have some deals here locally as well. But yeah, you're just not seeing the competition here that you see on the West Coast.
Do you like DC and Northern Virginia more than you like here? Or do you like them equally, or do you like the Triangle more?
Oh, that's really hard to say.
That was not
great
a fair
opportunity. I'd say there's great opportunities in all the markets.
Oh, that's a non-threatening. Everyone wins. Not everyone wins. There's some winners. But
how do you guys source? Like, how, say the Atlanta, when you do, how do you, in like real sense, like plug in down there? Is it in part about particular events that you're going to, or are you just over time have met more people? Are there certain publications you look at? Like, what are some of the ways, and maybe there are ways that are, the Triangle and Atlanta could be more together that would be good for investors and founders?
Yeah, I do think there's a lot of collaboration among the region, the various regions. But in the absence of being able to drive down, to DC or Atlanta or any other city, I think, we're definitely reliant on our network, whether it's previous founders that we've invested in or our VC network. The virtual pitch days and events. And a lot of times, investors in a different city will have us, as guest judges. And so we'll get to see deal flow that way and vice versa. And I've only seen everything virtually. So that's kind of how I know it.
For your, the portfolio companies you guys work with and the companies that are coming in, certainly you guys have done a number of things in the Triangle, and the anchors were really talking about DC area and Atlanta. Have you seen more on one side or the other? I mean, just I'm sure you do all of it, but does it tend to be weighted one way or the other?
I think lately I've seen more in Atlanta, but I think it's really hard to say. I think it's if I reach out to somebody in Atlanta or reach out to somebody in Philly, then just depending on who I'm talking to, I'll kind of see more from that area.
Just kind of depends. And then, so for the North Carolina or locally Triangle, North Carolina area entrepreneurs that are kind of listening, every VC fund has their kind of sweet spot, right? Mm-hmm. And it's not just geographic. It tends to be stage, or it tends to be profile of the startup or the entrepreneur or whatever. How does Bull City focus compared to, locally we have Idea Fund, we've got some other co-founders, there's some, and there's obviously a little bit more than that. How do you guys focus compared to them? I guess differentiate is the startup term.
Yeah. So our thesis is we are seed and Series A investors. We can be the first institutional capital in. We don't have to be. We can come in pretty early, but generally post-revenue, post-product. Our industries are software and internet. But I think our main thesis is backing the jockey versus the horse. So we like to invest in founders who have either had a previous company and experience and have been through a cycle, or somebody who has a deep industry knowledge or expertise. That would be right up our alley.
So probably more interested in Joe, who actually had a successful exit, versus me, a successful and unsuccessful leaving. Well, I mean, it does seem you guys are into the serial entrepreneur. And someone has had a successful exit. They zip up the Bull City, well, probably everyone's rankings.
So I've had, so David Cummings down in Atlanta, who heads up Atlanta Tech Village, has done he's behind a lot of stuff, Sales Loft, Terminus. He's an early investor in Calendly, which is amazing. So we talk about when he works with different entrepreneurs at very early stage to kind of start something, he actually likes entrepreneurs who've done it before and failed. Obviously, because if they succeeded, they don't really need him. And because as you know, with entrepreneurs, there's so many stars in their eyes often if they've never done before, and they're into the culture of startups more than they are in terms of the nitty gritty of doing startup. And so having done it and failed, you tend to be brutally aware how hard and difficult it is. And so those are often really good early stage partners for doing the next venture, because they're back at it and they must love it and they probably learn something. You often learn more from your failures than you do your successes, as they say. So
yeah, no, there's definitely truth to that.
So. Joe, do you want winner of the week or you want a trivia question? We have them both.
Oh, we just have a few minutes. Okay, so hold on. Let me do first. Let's do the trivia question, and then we'll do kind of all right. So
here's the trivia question. I think whoever gets it first in the comments, and you win a pint glass.
Okay. All right. Hold on. Trivia.
What are you doing? Did you make a
little? I'm going to do a banner.
Okay.
Here we go.
All right. Well, I can start reading, I think, while you're doing that.
Here we go. Look, I just.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
I'm a man of many words. I did that by myself, actually.
The production values that has brought to this. Okay, so it's related to Steve Case. So in January of 2000, so AOL was part of the worst corporate merger of all time.
Time out. No. So what? People are commenting. Do they get something? Like, we just need to lay it all out.
If whoever answers first, or if anyone answers first, they win a Grep Beat pint glass.
Okay.
Right? And I'll be giving some clues so that eventually people will get it. Or I just say it, or whatever comes first.
Can Sarah and I participate in this trivia contest?
Yes.
Let's say no. Oh, okay.
You have to give the people a chance. You can say, I think I know what it is, and then I might have to give a clue. We'll figure it out. Don't just blurt it out. Think about it. You probably won't get it until there's some clues. I'm just saying.
Fine.
Okay?
Let's do it.
All right. So anyway, in January of 2000, you might be familiar with the AOL Time Warner merger. I just actually started at Time Warner, with AKA the worst corporate merger of all time in terms of combined market cap blown into the smithereens. Well, just a month before, AOL bought another company for $1.1 billion, a company that you have heard of. All right, you're not going to get it from that, but here's why the clue is going to. So this is December of '99. one of the co-founders of this company is in the Triangle, or is in the Triangle community, certainly. Might not literally be here at this moment. If you wanted to, well, now.
Great question, Pete. This is really fun.
If you wanted to get directions somewhere.
Oh, like I know.
Okay, you know.
But I'm not going to put it in there. I'm going to give Jim Roberts, our one listener, a chance to chime in. I'll tell you what. Can I add on to?
Give some other clues if you know what it is.
So it's the company is a predecessor to Google Maps.
Yeah,
it's what people used to use before Google Maps and Yahoo Maps. And it starts with
and Apple Maps. Oh,
hey!
That's true. Chris Hively has went up. Look, he's got it all. Oh,
okay. Oh. But I want it okay.
Someone else
good job, Jim. But I do want to call out. We do have a second listener. Thank you, Lucy. But I'm sorry.
There can only be one.
There can only one. It's kind of a Highlander type situation. It's like Rise of the Rest. Maybe next time. So
right. Okay. So there's not even time for one of the.
What's the answer? Is Chris Hively or the answer is MapQuest?
The answer is MapQuest. Chris Hively was the clue of the local co-founder. That's how you got it, right? From Chris Hively, or you? Yeah. Right. Okay.
My brain works in mysterious ways. All right. Yay, Jim. Pint glass. Okay.
Let's thank our guest, Sarah. Thank you.
Thank you,
Sarah.
Well, remember the Greppies. Well, you're going to hear more about it. It's April 22nd. We'll be having some awards, top startup, small, large, etc. Anything else you want to say,
no,
Joe?
Thank you so much.
Oh, me?
Oh, yeah. No, sir. Joe, yeah, you're one of the hosts. So
yeah, I've heard. I've heard. I'm also an LP in the Bull City Venture.
Yeah. No, I heard that too. Yeah.
No, well, other than I think later on today, there's a clubhouse which we didn't get to talk about how much you hate that.
Yeah, I don't have an invite. I don't like the whole
talk
concept
about Rise. I do Rise of the Rest, and I believe Sarah, your partner, Jason. Is Jason going to be on it?
Yeah,
as well.
That's right. Yeah.
So I don't know.
I could get an invite. I just don't like the concept of the invite.
Oh well.
Just to be
sure,
clear.
I'm sure Steve Case is really fretting about that right now. And so, anyways, that's something to do later today. Otherwise,
4 p.m.
4 p.m. Eastern Standard.
But I got an invite and I can't access it because I don't have an Apple phone.
What? That's a whole different. What do you have? An Android? Come on.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's only iOS only.
That does seem a little odd though.
Okay.
For a big company that you can only use an iPhone. Did you know
we're in the rest.
Clubhouse?
If we're at the best, it wouldn't be like this. But
Rise of
the Rest, we get what we can get.
Clubhouse is part of the best though. I mean, they just raised $100 million at a $1 billion valuation, and they're basically in a beta.
Crazy times.
All
right. I think we
Okay.
gotta wrap it up.
We've gone over, so play the outro, subscribe to the newsletter, etc.
Here we go. Bye.
We're out.